Hi, I'm Andy Beck. I'm an artist and photographer based here in Teesdale in the North Pennines of England. In this series of short films, I'm going to show you how I converted my Nissan NV200 into a campervan and mobile studio. The films show the various stages of the process. Now, I'm no expert, I've never converted one of these campervans before, so there will be trials and errors in these films. I hope you get information and inspiration that you can adapt for yourself if you're thinking of converting not only a Nissan NV200 but any other sort of small campervan. Feel free to leave questions or your own ideas in the comments boxes below, and wherever necessary I'll give you a reply as soon as I can. The whole of this conversion has cost me just over £1,100. So here you'll see what you can do for that sort of money. Here's the film. Space in the Nissan NV200 is at an absolute premium. So I looked at this space here, the passenger space, and thought I need to use this as best as possible for when I have it converted as a campervan. So what I've done is I've converted this into a swivel seat. And it's quite simple to operate. Just have to move the seat a little bit forward, release the catch, and there you have it. The seat turns all the way around and you've got a comfortable seat for sitting in when you're using it as a campervan. In this film I'll show you how we did it and all the hiccups that we came across and how we dealt with them. Remember, of course, that in the film that you're about to see, I have converted the seat from a NV200 Combi. It already has the runners attached for moving the seat backwards and forwards. If you're going to do this conversion for the seat from just a normal panel van, you will have to buy the runners so that the seat can move forwards and backwards. You can't just do it by putting the seat on the support base via the swivel plate. But I'll show you all that as we go through the film. Now that the vehicle's all cleared out, ready for fitting, the intention is to move on and do some work to adapt the vehicle for my own use. As you can see, there's quite a bit of space in the back. From the rear of the driver's seat to nearly where the door is 2 meters, which is ample for putting a full-length bed in, 6-foot bed. And the width across is 140 centimeters, so cupboards on this side, bed on that side. Because I'm doing a solo camper adaptation, I only need a bed to be of a 1-person width. But I want to use the most of the space that I've got, and storage is going to be a problem for rucksacks and my painting kit and things like that. And of course the dog, he stays here, he's got this area, so that's an area accounted for already. Well, my intention, after doing a bit of research on the internet, I'm going to convert the passenger seat to be a swivel seat so that it will turn around and face this way whenever I'm parked up, and I can sit and draw at it or eat there or whatever. And it will also mean that I will be able to use the seat part of the chair itself as the end of my bed, which will allow me to move my bed. Instead of being all the way back here, I'll move it down to about here, and then my feet will be resting on the seat of the chair. So I've looked at getting a swivel plate for the passenger seat. It's very hard to find one for the Nissan NV200. When they have been used, they've been adapted from a VW manufactured plate, or a plate manufactured for a VW, and just with a few tweaks they're made to fit in here. I'll post a link at the bottom of the film for where I got this plate from. You can get these done professionally, and the conversion done cost maybe about £350 to get a swivel seat put in for you. But I've shopped around and there are 2 manufacturers that I've found, one in Germany, and their swivel plates are about €299. And the other place was a company that I got another make of a plate called from a FASP, FASP, and this is their plate. It's a quite heavy, substantial plate, and that's cost me £101 delivered to me here, which is what I call a good price, because that is a fair bit of mechanics. That's a substantial bit of kit. It will fit on the box that holds the chair up, and then the runners get fitted to this, and the seat get fitted to the runners, and then it will swivel. The instructions are a little bit confusing as to which direction this release catch should be. Should it be on the inside, outside, pointing up and down? But this hole has to be towards the rear of the box support. Now, I've had a look already, and it's not just simple bolts. There's a fitting at the back which I think is called a Torx bolt, and I don't have that bit of kit, so I have roped in a friend of mine who's a bit of a mechanic side of things, and he's got all the kit, so he's here to help me today to fit this swivel, and we'll film it, and if we come across any problems or highlight any issues with the fitting of this plate onto that chair, then I'll film it and you can learn from our experience. So we'll get on and fit the swivel plate. So the way we're doing this, we're taking the seat and runners off at the same time.
Seat with the runners, yeah. And then there's the airbag.
Yeah. There's three catches.
So they should just come onto there. So that's it, the seat's off there. Right, got it. Thank you. See the runners.
Well, this is the seat off with the runners attached. Obviously, if you're doing the conversion from a panel van, you won't have these runners, you'll just have the seat and then the support block remaining in situ. The job to do here now is take off the 8 nuts which hold the runners to the seat. There's 2 here on either side at the front, and 2 really well tucked away on either side at the back. Now, Ian has got with him this spanner which he happened to have adopted ages ago to give it a bit of a bend, and by pure chance it fits here, so it makes the job of removing these awkward nuts a lot easier. So we'll get on and do that.
Right.
So this is your specialist tool.
Yeah. It used to be like that, and now it's like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So with a bit of adaptation.
Yeah.
And this is what size?
That's 1/2 inch, but it needs to be 13mm really.
Right, but
yeah.
1/2 inch
Yeah.
is all we've got at the minute.
Yeah, but 13mm. If you're going to make one of your own, use a 13mm.
Right.
Yeah. And these I probably could get with a ring spanner the other way around, just on there, so they're going to be straightforward. Like that. These can't get that in there, so
Back to your
back to your
bin.
Yeah. This is what.
Just a minute.
Just last couple of.
Once all 8 nuts have been released, all you have to do is lift the runners away from the seat. We've fitted the plate. I just slotted a couple of bolts in now, just to give it a test run. The catch is on the left-hand side, which is the outside edge, but upwards. And so if we try to release the plate now, it will only go one way.
It won't go clockwise as it's meant to, because it comes up against the stop. So it will go anti-clockwise, but you've got problems with interference. Clearly it's
meant to go the other way. So that way it will not work. Okay.
So
what we'll do,
flip it over and see if we can make it fit.
Right, we'll turn it over.
Even if you turned it upside down, it still won't go clockwise. It'll only turn anti-clockwise, and you've still got the same problem.
Right. So this is the wrong plate.
It's the wrong plate.
So, quick catch up. When Ian and I were fitting the swivel plate to the box support, and the catch was on the left hand side, the door side, when we undid the catch, it would only swivel anti-clockwise. It was meant to swivel clockwise. So we knew that something wasn't quite right, and we suspected we had the wrong plate. So it was a quick phone call to the supplier, and after a couple of questions, it was obvious that we'd been sent the driver's side swivel plate and not the passenger side. What happened? I gave him a ring, and straight away he sent out a replacement swivel plate, which arrived a day later. So that was yesterday, and now I've got the new swivel plate. I mean, that was prompt service from the supplier. Ideally it shouldn't have happened to start with, but in the meantime, while I waited for the new swivel plate to arrive, I went ahead and cut out the wooden flooring for the van, which is on another film. That's why in that film you can see that there's no chair. So here we are with the swivel plate for the passenger side. Same thing again, it's a plate for VWT4 1997, and it works with a little bit of adaptation for the Nissan NV200. And here you can see that with the hole towards the rear, like as before, the catch is now on the right side, i.e. the driver's side, and the catch is upwards, so that when you unlock it, it only turns in a clockwise direction. So Ian and I are going to fit this plate and film it and show you how we get on and what we have to do to adapt it to fit here in the Nissan NV200 on the passenger side. So just to place the swivel plate on the support box, just as a test and a dry run, remembering to put the center hole nearer the back and then the catch into the middle of the vehicle. Now it's quite easy. If you release the catch, you can turn the plate and you can see it moves freely in a clockwise direction, and you can see the two holes at the back in which those bolts will fit. And then once they're in place, the front holes where the other bolts were holding the runners on are now redundant, because the plate has lifted up what is going to be the runners, so they won't fit in there. And of course you want the seat to swivel, so those tabs from the front bolts will be cut off, ready for fitting. And to make this plate fit the support box, you need to drill 2 new holes at the front, through there and there, and in the kit you get the bolts ready to go. So that will be a job to do. And that's it, locked back in place. Now the runners. They'll fit in, obviously, with a handle to the front. And on the Nissan runners, there's a locating lug on this. Now, that may be a bit long for when the runners are fitted to this plate, but there is a hole close to it, and of course you want to line up any holes on the runners with the holes that are drilled in the top section of the swivel plate. And of course there are bolts countersunk underneath the plate, so the bolt will come up, and then you'd secure that with a fixing nut. Once you've done the rear, you'd have to put the runner to the back and fix it through the front, all the way back. So this would be the seat in the furthest back position. There is room there for a couple of holes you'd need to drill through there to marry up with the front of the base plate. On my vehicle, you can see that down here the center console is quite low. Now I've seen them up with a couple of cup holders here. For some reason my vehicle doesn't have that, so it's flat and quite low lying. I don't know what you'd have to do. If you had that higher version, you may have to remove that and get one of these. Our plan, if we can do it, is to fix the runners. Once we've drilled the holes, fix the runners back to the underside of the seat, and then bring the seat and runners together and mount them on the plate. After we've drilled all the holes and got the bolts and everything ready, that may be easier than trying to get those awkward nuts from these runners here on these 4 points on each side up into the seat. It may be easier to fit the runners first and then back on there, but that's what we're going to try and do shortly. So that's a sort of dry run for the base plate and the runners. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off this lug, which is surplus to requirements now. Take that down to quite a low level, right? Take off these front tabs, which aren't needed, so we're going to angle grind those off. Then we'll do a dry run fit and see if we do need to take any off the far corner of that rail to prevent it rubbing. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Right, leave you to it. Neat job. So we'll give it a dry run. Just plate on. So those holes line up. Yeah. Now, is it worth just turning it slightly, putting a bolt in, So it's just a dry run to see how it turns.
Yeah. So as well, we'll have to probably tighten them up with a socket if we'll be slapping about a bit. If you want to go that far, but to get a proper dry run, that's what you should do. So I think it'll be all right. I did consider that.
So these little bolts that they provided are countersunk with an Allen key fitting, and of course the underside of the top part of the plate is countersunk, so these fit it up, and then we put the nut on, and these will be flush with the bottom of the plate. So the Allen key and socket. This will also check that the runners do work when it's fully down. We don't have to adjust the bolts at all. No, we're adapting this for the Nissan. You would have thought that the bolt would have been the right length even for a VW, you know, the original type. So that's it, clip shot with the runner on. So we'll have to drill holes at the front, but so at the minute, is the seat all the way back? No.
No.
Oh, that goes all the way back.
Yeah,
so that's right.
It's okay.
Yeah, so we don't need to take anything off the nuts.
No. That's okay.
People have said that when they put these runners on and this plate in the Nissan, that part of this runner catches the trim. And they're right, because if I turn that, the end of the runner, you can see, would rub against this section of door trim. So the simplest thing to do, and without affecting the workings of the runner, will be to just take a corner off that back end of the runner.
Yeah.
Remembering that
not to touch the slider, but
the slider doesn't need to be affected because the seat can actually be moved forward, you know, and not be affected. So we just need to take a corner off that runner. So knowing how to measure that is, we have an idea.
Yeah, so we'll move that up to contact point near enough there.
So that's in a position where it would first touch the door.
Yeah.
And then Ian is going to mark it
so
with a pen.
In theory, I'm going to try and hold that on there and describe an arc as we move the...
Right, as I gently move it round, it will go through an arc.
So the furthest it's going to be is there. That was the initial contact there, and then if we drew a line across there, it's only going to be about...
So that's the distance or the measurement that we need to take off.
3/8 of an inch or 12
There'll be no harm in taking a little bit extra.
More off to
just to ensure it is.
Yeah. So the maximum in theory would be to take that much off.
Right, which is about 12 mil or something, 13 mil.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll do that, and then we'll come back and refit it.
Worked, yeah.
So Ian's just taken the 12 or 14 mil off that. Off that end.
Basically and up to the edge of that little raised plate that's riveted on there.
Right.
And
See
just
it.
done a smooth radius on.
Yeah. A nice sort of looks professional anyway. And then as we turn it, it's a perfect clearance there. Yeah. And what we're going to do, the plastic cap that we took off earlier from the end, we're just going to...
Which normally fitted on the flat bit there.
Yeah.
We're going to put that bit on there and trim that off there.
Yeah, and that will just give it a finishing touch.
Tidy it up a bit.
So, what I'll do is, Ian, I'll get a bit of Hammerite.
Yeah.
And I will spray a bit of black paint on the
sawn and
the bits that we've just to stop any rust and stuff. On the underside of the runner are the holes, but they're not quite big enough for the 8mm bolts that came with the kit. So we're just going to run a drill through those to make the holes bigger. The next task is to fix the swivel plate to the support box. So by using the two pre-drilled holes at the back, we can use the bolts that came with the seat and the runners, That's simple enough. But at the front here, you'll see there's a pre-drilled hole in the swivel plate, and you'd think that we could just drill down through the support box and then bring a bolt up on both sides, but unfortunately that's not practical because it's very difficult to see. But under here there is a support bar, a round support bar directly underneath that hole. So what we've got to do is drill a hole slightly back and down through, and make a new hole, i.e. down through the base plate of the swivel plate, down through this plate, down through that. So it's actually going through 3 plates of metal, so quite a hefty drilling job. And then we'll be able to put a bolt through there and affix the plate onto the support box. So we'll do that. So there's the holes drilled, the 8mm holes, and then the bolts that came as part of the kit. One goes in there and the other goes in there. So we have the plate so it's nice and secure for now, and then we'll do the finish. We'll bolt it all up and do these bolts up at the back, and it should be ready then for the next stage. What we're doing is we've taken the seat off the support base originally, and we went to the trouble of taking the runners away from the seat.
Yeah.
And we found out now, after doing our trial and error, that we don't actually need to take the runners off, because what we can do, and everything we've done to fit this to that swivel base, is or can be done from here.
Yeah.
So from here you would cut off the tabs, which you did but with the angle grinder.
Yeah.
You cut off the lug.
Yeah.
And it would be a push, but you'd cut off that.
Yeah.
You'd have to make sure that the seat was well protected if you're going to do angle grinding, of course.
That's all up. In theory, pull that off. Slide that back. You could cut that off with that away from the seat.
Yeah. By moving the runners back and forwards, you can do stuff.
You can cut the tabs off the front.
Yeah.
By pushing them forward. They would just be around there, and you could grind them off without affecting the seat.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But because we took the runners off, we now have to reattach them securely to the seat, and we found this a bit awkward to start with. You are able to do it with a ring spanner. So
there's 4 bolts, 4 nuts attaching it to the welded bolts, studs on the
runners.
On the runners. So you need a 13mm spanner. You need an extension similar to this with a socket on the end, and I've put a bit of tape on the end so that I can push the nut in and it won't fall out.
That's for doing the back two, which are in there. Right, we'll see that in a minute.
In a minute, yeah. So that's what you need to start with. So we pop these nuts on here. That's 1. I won't tighten them just yet. 2. There's 2 more on the top. And I'll show you how to get to the tricky ones at the top. We'll have to come turn the seat. So you're coming in from this side, push the cushion down there.
Right near the plastic runner, right?
And you can probably see in there, I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
But you can see my finger there.
Yeah.
That's about where the stud is, just here.
Right, okay.
So we get that in there.
With the nut? With the nut
already in the socket. Have I done that? No, I haven't done that. Little lessons to be learned. So, in theory,
so you push that right in between the cushion and the plastic edge, the trim.
Yeah. Right. No, actually, yeah, it's all right. I haven't done that one. So that goes down there. You will have to feel with your hand.
Let me have a look round this way.
So,
and then from this side, you could
under there. Yeah, you'll have to feel the socket and the stud and just locate one onto the other. Where did I find it?
It's not easy.
No, once you get it on, it should be. You just because you've got the nut and the socket, it should. You should just be able to wind it on.
Okay. You're going to tighten this one right up.
I might as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's come firm there, and I'll just nip it up.
And there's two.
There's two. The second one. Oh no, this is the second one. So they're both easy to access.
Yeah.
From this point. The other one I've put the nut on, but
Yeah.
I haven't tightened it up.
Right.
So
Okay.
the most difficult one is the one I've just shown you there.
Yeah.
So.
The one that's nearer the front.
Yeah. So that's it. Nip that up. Sock it off. Just move it across to the other one, which is sort of in the corner there. You will meet a bit of resistance from this cushion at the front here.
Right.
But in theory, you could probably tilt the seat back.
Yeah.
To
give you a bit more room.
yeah,
Right.
that should do it. And then you square onto it.
Yeah.
So that's that tightened up as well. And we'll do the same on the other side. Again, push that down. And I've put that end one on, so you could actually take that off there to start you off, and just feed that in. Yeah, I was expecting it to lock up a bit before that. Right, that's that one. Get that one up. Go back to the other one, which I put on top. Don't leave your socket on the nut.
Just come around and have a look from that side.
And that's that one tight.
So those are the back four,
Yeah.
all fitted and tight.
Tightened,
That,
yeah.
Those are the four that people have problems with, I think.
Yeah,
Going by the way that you see it on.
yeah.
On-
The
online
others
and
should
stuff.
be able to just be done with. Don't think you'd get that socket in, or a shorter one with
No.
a ratchet, so you have to use a spanner, and then it's just a matter of laboriously. And notice I'm using the spanner that way up instead of that way up, because
Yeah.
it just gives you a bit more swing.
So we didn't need your specialised bent spanner. You could
of
just use a
earlier,
ring
yeah,
spanner.
yeah.
Right.
You're better off using a ring spanner if you can get away with it, because
Yeah.
it's
Get
less
more.
likely to slip off. Yeah.
Right. And then so it's just
So
doing
it's just
that
doing
and
this
getting
to
all
each
four.
one, yeah. And then,
Okay. And of course, we mustn't forget you've got to connect up the electrics. We can do that in a minute, but those are the connectors that we've got to put the feed back into. Right. You've got the electrics up through the centre of the hole.
yeah.
Right.
To the centre side of that main bar there,
Okay.
as near to the centre as you can get it.
And we're going to connect the electrics first. So I'll hold it.
Yeah. Just rest it on the back there if you want. Just hold it there, Andy. Yeah.
Right.
So we're just clipping them back from colour matched, so white to white. You can't really go wrong because they're a different shape anyway. That one just goes in there and clips on there. Make sure it's fastened in. Then you've got your little plastic clip there. Now, if you find that you've damaged that one, we've damaged it a little bit redundant now, but I think that should, in theory, clip back in there. That's it. So it just secures that into there. If you're worried, you could always put a cable tie round or something, and that
Okay.
should be it there.
Right. So we lower the seat then.
Yep. So we're moving that to
So this is why you don't have to take the runners away from the seat. You can just set it all straight onto the top plate and turn it, as long as you've got the holes drilled accurately, and just bolt one to the other now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because for drilling the holes even, obviously that comes back a bit. You would have lined these back two holes up because there's been no drilling at the back.
Yeah.
And then marked them at the front and then drilled the plate.
Yeah.
Drilled the runner.
Yeah.
At that point. So I'm putting these in countersunk.
These are the countersunk ones that I bought with the kit that were countersunk. They seem to be very handy to have them countersunk. Almost essential.
They fit into the countersunk
Yeah.
part of that plate, and when this is on here, there's plenty of clearance from the seat runner. When it's up like this. We did have them the other way up and found that they fouled on the bolt. So these are the back ones that go uppermost like that.
Yeah.
Just put them in.
I assume you just leave them loose for now, so you can line up the front ones.
Yeah, because I think we know we should just know how to rotate to the edge.
Okay.
Slide it back, which reveals the front ones that we drilled earlier in the runners.
Yes, right.
So
those are the holes that you would drill.
and you drill them from underneath.
Yeah, when
the seat is off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are still attached to the runner. So
Yeah.
you attach from the you drill from the underside of the runner, right?
So pretty sure these just go down over like that.
And these are just standard bolts and nuts, aren't they?
Yeah. And they were marked, by the way, to go through this front hole.
Yeah.
In the plate. I don't think it was that one. I think
No.
it's this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's it. And you need your washer under there. And nut. And a washer and a nut. Just to get the spanner in there. So just nip it up firmly, but not tight just at the minute. Because what I want to do is tighten the countersink ones, because they're going to determine where the seat sits at the back. Bit more shuffling.
Yeah, I mean, as we've seen, it's when you want to use the swivel, you have to move the chair backwards and forwards to get it to turn, because the space is quite tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it moves without too much adjustment on the seat, doesn't it?
Fairly straightforward, yeah. But it's going together quite well. I'm going to nip these up tight now. So Allen key, 5mm Allen key in the bolt that was supplied, the countersink bolt.
wrong way? Or are you trying to...
Right, I just want... I will have to slide it back, that's it. Yeah. I'll just nip them off.
One of the concerns about fitting a swivel seat is would it be covered by insurance? So I rang the insurance company and said, you know, what about putting a swivel seat in? And they like to know about any modification that you do, but they said, yeah, fine, just no problem at all. So obviously you can't make one of these on your own. Well, you could make one of your own, but it's better to buy one that people recommend.
Tried and tested, yeah.
And as we found today, that's a substantial bit of engineering that is going to stand.
Yeah, it's well made. It's
yeah.
Good. Right. That should be it.
So that should be it.
Yeah.
So let's stand back and have a look.
Just clearance there.
Yeah, would that clip go in that hole?
Yeah, the problem is, Andy, I think what I'm wondering if the cable should come over the top of this plate here.
So the problem we've had is that when we move the chair back and forwards, what happens?
Yeah, this is coming up in the wrong place, and we're going to have to see that hole there. We're going to have to put that other clip in there because the cable gets pressed and dragged like this all the time.
Right.
And if it was fixed there, then it would just come down.
Okay.
The clips, this little white one is a little, just press that in and pull it with your finger and it should just come out. And this one, just slide the flat white plastic clip back.
Right, okay.
That's out. That wasn't in there very well anyway.
So we've now got to feed it a different way.
Reroute it.
Right.
I'm going to bring it this side.
Right, let's have a go underneath it.
Yeah. So we're going to try it this side of.
So we're at the rear of the seat now, even though it's turned around the wrong way.
Fact,
this is looking from the back.
Yeah, we might even be able to get one of them in, but we'll do that later.
Right.
To tidy it up.
So you brought it round the sort of back. You're going to reconnect it.
Yeah. I'll just have to go in there. I'm trying to make it fit the old square peg in a round hole thing. I don't think that's going to go in there.
Right, let's just stop there. Just stop me on camera. So what you're saying?
Put that back in there.
And then the cable comes down and towards the back and not going to catch.
It's in, finished, and we've discovered that if you slide it forward so that the back of this is about in line with the runners at the back, you should be able to spin it without catching anything and not have to slide the seat. That's its full.
And it turns round and
it slides back, forwards, no problem. Put it back in line with the runners. And of course, you still have the option of reclining if you fancy little doors in the afternoon.
all done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Excellent.
One swivel chair.
Locked in place. That's all set there, yeah.
Great stuff. Well, just when everything was looking so good and we were enjoying the pleasures of a swivel chair, we tried to turn the whole thing round with the door closed. Not that you have to do it very often, But I said to Ian, let's just give it a go with the door closed. So we did, and you have to move the chair forwards and backwards as you turn it. And then we found out that this near side runner, which we haven't cut at all, is the one that sticks against the door trim. So they both stick against the door trim, whereas we cut only one.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now, instead of taking the whole seat apart, Ian's got a good hacksaw here, and we're going to replicate the cut that we did on the other side, but on this runner, and then clean all this off, and we should be able to rotate the chair with the door shut. So that's what we're going to do, and Ian's going to do what he does, and so we'll do that and come back and have a look and see what it's like when we've done it. A couple of points to note when you're operating the swivel seat with the door fully closed. Even though we have trimmed off the end of the runners to give them the freedom to go past the door plastic without rubbing, it takes a little bit of toing and froing with the seat on the runners to get it past the door and run freely. And even then, there's just a very slight bit of rubbing between the plastic of the chair and the plastic of the door. It's slight, but it is there. So you can do it, and to be honest, I can't see many times where I would have to turn the swivel seat round from inside like this. I'd rather go out, open the door slightly, turn the chair round in one swift go, and that makes life a lot easier without this rubbing of the two plastics. When you've got the seat at 90 degrees from its original position, you'll notice that here's the handbrake, so it clears the handbrake nice and easy, but the console may cause a bit of problem, this centre console plastic. On my van, it's this low version with just a little box at the back here. I know on some other vans there's a higher plastic console unit with two drinks holders at the top. You may have problems with that, so that's something that I can't tell you about because I don't have that type of console, but you may need to remove that console or adapt it somehow so that you can get this swivel chair to turn. And otherwise it's a very simple operation. So there we are, the swivel seat fitted and ready for use in the Nissan NV200. As you've seen in the film, we ran through it and it wasn't right first time, but hopefully you'll see that if you have the NV200 Combi with the runners already included, you can fit the swivel plate without taking the seat away from the runners. It takes a bit of care and a bit of skill when you're drilling the holes down through the runners and things, but it can be done and it will make the job so much simpler. Also in the film you'll have seen that we did take the seat away from the runners, but for those people who are having to fit new runners onto the seat, hopefully that will give you an insight of how to do it and the problems that we incurred just because we did it the wrong way. Just because we did it the incorrect way. We could have saved ourselves a lot of time and trouble if we'd known beforehand, but that's what these films are all about. Hopefully that short film will give you a good idea of how I completed that stage in the process of converting my Nissan NV200. Do check out my channel for the other films which show all the other stages of the conversion from start to finish. If you've enjoyed the film, do click the like button, and hopefully you may feel inclined to even subscribe to this channel. You may also be interested in my other work, my proper work, my painting and photography. If so, do have a look at my website. The address is www.andybeckimages.co.uk. Thanks for watching.